cuando murió Brian, varias personas le dedicaron algo. Jimi Hendrix le dedicó una canción, Loverman. Pete Townshend le compuso un poema. Jim Morrison otro. Y Donovan esta canción.
Vamos a escuchar esto que escribió el gran Donovan Licht, directamente de Escocia, de Glasgow concretamente. Y le escribió esto a su amigo Brian Jones. Local boy chops wood. En 1977, una canción que Donovan escribe y dedica a su gran amigo Brian Jones, Local Boy Chops Wood. Y tan amigo Donovan de Brian Jones desde antes que ambos fuesen famosos, y después pues continúan esta amistad entrañable. Y de hecho, bueno, cuando fallece Brian Jones en 1969, queda muy cerca Donovan de la familia de Brian Jones, de Linda y de su hijo Julian.
Linda y Julian.
Y entonces, bueno, así las vueltas de la vida, que Donovan se casa con Linda y adopta prácticamente a Julian, al hijo de Brian Jones, como hijo propio. Y han conformado una familia muy hermosa.
Muy linda, muy unidos.
Y alguien muy unido, y alguien que lo interesante es que el recuerdo y la presencia de Brian Jones, así como un hermano, como alguien que está ahí donde quiera que se encuentre, sigue presente en la vida de Donovan y de su hijo adoptivo, de Julian y de Linda, y que una vez estuvieron con Brian Jones. Y pues la gran sorpresa es que tenemos en vivo desde Europa a Donovan. No lo podemos creer.
Hi, Donovan.
Hey, Gerardo. Hello, it's Donovan from Spain.
How you doing in Spain? Summer vacations.
Fantastic. It's so hot. Too hot.
Oh, great.
Está Donovan en España en este momento saludando a Gerardo Oliedo y dice que hace mucho calor.
Donovan, you know, it's 40 years since Brian Jones passed. There are people from all over the world listening. So we want to hear you about Brian.
Le pregunta a Gerardo, le dice que hace 40 años se fue Brian Jones. Hay personas en todas partes del mundo escuchando y queremos que Donovan nos platique sobre Brian Jones.
Go ahead, Don.
Gerardo, will you translate?
Yes, we are translating. You speak in English, Donovan.
Okay. So, Brian Jones. He came with childlike trust.
Vino con la confianza de un niño. Vino con la confianza de un niño.
But he had divine discontent.
Pero
discontent.
Pero él tenía dentro de sí una especie de descontento.
But with so much carefree enthusiasm.
Pero con tanto entusiasmo libre.
And adventure.
Y aventura.
Spontaneity.
Espontaneidad.
Youthful energy.
Una energía juvenil.
And a longing.
Y una añoranza.
To find his heart's content.
Para encontrar el contento en su corazón.
And his dream was rhythm and blues.
Y su sueño era el rhythm and blues.
And when he heard the African American music,
y cuando él escuchó la música afroamericana,
he knew this was his destiny.
Él supo en ese momento que eso era su destino.
And in his heart, he realized.
Y en su corazón él se dio cuenta.
He must go to London.
Que tenía que ir a Londres.
And in London,
y en Londres,
there are jazz players and blues players.
Y en Londres había músicos de jazz y de blues.
But Brian has a large dream, a big dream.
Pero Brian tenía este gran sueño, un enorme sueño.
To bring white rhythm and blues to the whole world.
Llevar el rhythm and blues blanco a todo el mundo.
First, he must learn everything the African American musicians play.
Por lo tanto, él tuvo que aprender todo lo que los músicos afroamericanos tocaban.
One guy called Elmer James.
Un hombre llamado Elmer James.
African American blues slide guitar.
Un guitarrista de guitarra slide, de blues afroamericano.
He listens and he makes a band called the Rolling Stones.
Cuando él escuchó, entonces Brian Jones formó una banda que se llamó los Rolling Stones.
And Brian becomes the door for all British rhythm and blues guitar players and bands to walk in.
Y entonces Brian Jones se convirtió en la puerta para que todos los músicos de rhythm and blues ingleses pudieran entrar.
Next question.
Okay, sorry, Donovan, we are going to be more specific here. You have a project for next year, the PAN project.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more about this project for Brian?
Bueno, con la siguiente pregunta, Gerardo Liedo le pregunta a Donovan, ¿de qué se trata este proyecto PAN que va a echar a andar próximamente Donovan?
Well, the project this year of the 40th anniversary of Brian's death
El proyecto en este año del 40 aniversario de la muerte de Brian
is to say that Brian is more alive now
es decir que Brian está mucho más vivo ahora
than he ever was.
que nunca antes.
Because Brian invented and created
Porque Brian inventó y creó
the way to express
la manera de expresarse,
a great musical emotion
una gran emoción musical,
as a harmony between
como una armonía entre
African American traditional music,
la música tradicional afroamericana,
blues, jazz,
el blues, el jazz,
with Celtic,
con la música
Welsh,
celta, galesa,
poetic understanding of a white audience.
la comprensión poética de una audiencia blanca.
So Brian,
Así que
for
Brian,
Linda and I this year,
para Linda y para mí en este año
is an example of how
es un ejemplo de cómo
Celtic musicians like Donovan and the Beatles
los músicos celtas como Donovan y los Beatles
and Brian Jones
y Brian Jones
were able to link
fueron capaces de vincular
the great ancient music of Africa
otras grandes músicas antiguas del África
with modern European angst.
con la angustia moderna europea.
But Brian would need a muse.
Pero sin embargo, Brian necesitaría una musa.
And his first muse,
Y su primera
his
musa,
true muse, was Linda.
la verdadera musa primera, era Linda.
Here is Linda.
Y aquí está Linda.
Great. Hi, Linda.
Hello.
Linda,
Hi
great to
there.
hear you. Great
pues,
to hear you.
Increíble, aquí estamos escuchando a Linda, actual esposa de Donovan y primera musa de Brian Jones.
Hello.
Linda, you told me yesterday that you feel Brian in your son and your grandson, and that you're feeling the vibes. Please tell us more about that.
Gerardo le dice a Linda que, bueno,
Okay,
ayer
yeah.
que tuvieron una conversación, Linda estaba sintiendo a su hijo y a su nieto y las vibras de Brian Jones presentes. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay. Yes. Just recently, he's never been out of my thoughts and my dreams, but in the last year or so, it's become much stronger and stronger.
Linda dice que Brian Jones siempre ha estado en sus sueños y en sus pensamientos, pero recientemente, durante el último año, Brian ha estado cada vez más presente, más intenso.
I see it through my son, Julian, and my grandson, Jules.
Yo siento esto a través de mi hijo Julian y de mi nieto Jules.
And recently I have been given a book by Gloria Shepherd, which is called Straight from the Heart, Brian Jones, Straight from the Heart.
Y recientemente se me dio un libro escrito por Gloria Shepherd que se llama Straight from the Heart, directo del corazón, la vida de Brian Jones.
It's as though he is speaking to us, all his fans, all the people that he wants to know the truth.
Y es como si Brian Jones estuviera hablándonos a nosotros, a su familia, a sus fans, a las personas. Es como si él nos estuviera diciendo la verdad.
And as I read it, it's as if he is speaking directly to me.
Y conforme yo estaba leyendo este libro, es como si Brian Jones me estuviera hablando directamente a mí.
And it's helping me to understand my son and Brian, and everything now is becoming very clear what's happened.
Y me está ayudando a entender mucho mejor a Brian, a mi hijo y a mí misma, y entender qué es lo que sucedió.
And yes, and I just want to say, if anybody would all I have to say is to listen to the music of Brian.
Todo lo que puedo decir es escuchen la música de Brian.
And also maybe they would like to read this book, which will connect all the fans and the people who loved or want to understand Brian even more than they have in the past.
Y también puede que les gustaría leer este libro de Gloria Shepherd, Straight from the Heart, que los puede acercar a conocer más a Brian que lo que ya lo conocen.
Okay, I can say no more than this, and I'm very happy to be speaking today.
Thank you, Linda.
Ya no
Thank
puedo
you for
decir
your
más
time.
y estoy muy feliz de poder hablar con ustedes hoy.
Linda, Don, we really appreciate your time, and let me tell you, we are going to play right now Heavy Inside, or Thanks for Being My Love, because the time is finishing, and we are going to call you back in about 15 minutes again for the second part, with more specific questions for Donovan.
Bueno, pues ya despedimos a Linda. Thank you very much, Linda, and thank you very much, Donovan. Muchas gracias a Linda y a Donovan por tomar la llamada para los micrófonos de Ibero 90.9 desde Europa. Y bueno, pues esta llamada tan emocionante, realmente aquí estamos todos muy, me imagino que ustedes también deben así estarlo. No todos los días se puede hablar con alguien como Donovan, y sobre todo en un día tan especial y con esta presencia en el pequeño homenaje que estamos rindiendo a Brian Jones a 40 años de su fallecimiento. Bueno, pues vamos con una última rolita. Esta se llama como, Gerardo.
Thank you for being there, my love. Este es un poema que escribió Brian Jones y ya le había puesto música a Carla Olson, pero le pone música también Julian Jones, su hijo. Y esta es una canción, pues así que letra de Brian, música de su hijo. So now,
here's Don.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Hello.
Hello, Donovan. This is going to be much simpler because we are off air, and we are going to do this only in English. And
Recording.
We are recording, and this is going to be
fantastic.
the second part. Yes, that was terrible. So sorry to make that. But now we are going to record, and next Friday we are going to make a broadcast of the second part. Okay.
Anyway, can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, Gerardo. When I spoke and Linda spoke, was live, yeah?
Yes, but was live. Yes.
You know, broadcast,
webcast also on the net.
Fantastic, wonderful. And you played beautiful music. You've played, the first track was Local Boy.
Yes, Local Boy chops.
Wow.
Donovan, one question, and it's not in relation with Brian Jones. What is the meaning of chops wood? I don't have
Okay. What is the meaning of chops wood? Okay. Local boy means a young man from a small town.
Yes.
You know that, don't you?
Yes.
Chops wood means makes good.
Ah, okay.
It's a London slang. You know what the word slang means?
Yes, I know.
It's chops wood means makes good.
Okay, great.
Become successful.
Okay.
Okay, Gerardo, and it's fantastic. We really, really, really love speaking to you now.
No, it was a real-
What should we do now?
Well, what we are going to do here, I am with Julia. Julia Palacios is the boss.
Julia is there.
Hello, Donovan. I am Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Or Julia, and I am here.
Yeah.
Yes, and well, we have the program. I have the program. This
Fantastic.
where you were broadcasted a few minutes ago, and I was doing the translation, which
Fantastic.
took a lot of time.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Say hello to Linda in English.
Hello, Linda. Hello. Thank you for
Hello,
answering before.
Julia.
I was doing the translation before,
Oh,
and
were
it
you?
took time.
Okay.
But now we're going to do something on Donovan and Brian and everything, and we will
Fantastic.
edit and produce the program very easily. And also, I have Jimena in front of me. She's my student, and she did her thesis on psychedelic movement. So she knows you. She knows you very well.
Wonderful.
She knows you very
Yeah.
well theoretically. She's very young.
Hello, Donovan
Yes.
and Linda. I am a big fan, and you are actually one of my favorite artists
Hello.
in my whole life.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, so here we are, very excited. So let's
Okay.
start.
Okay, okay, Donovan.
Okay, this is my cell phone. You want to call me back on the landline, or?
Okay.
Okay,
No,
sure.
it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go
Okay,
through it.
okay, I'm here. I will stop talking. Yeah, man.
Okay, Donovan, we are going to do more specific questions, and go ahead. You don't need to stop for translation. It's going to be 100% in English.
It's going to be in English.
Wow, Spanglish, as we don't speak a very good English. It's not Shakespearean English, but you know,
Okay, go ahead.
it's enough. Donovan, how?
Let's talk in Scottish. That
No,
would be
no,
good.
no, no. I have some friends from Scotland, and it's really hard to understand. I cannot understand the Scottish English.
No, it's okay. Just let's speak in old-fashioned English. Yeah, man.
Okay, okay, great. Donovan, how did you meet Brian Jones? Tell us.
Well, I think Brian Jones met me. Many people know about a street in London,
Okay,
and the street is called Tin Pan Alley.
okay.
Like the Tin Pan Alley in New York.
Yeah, but Tin Pan Alley in London is very small. And there's a cafe at the end.
Okay.
And in the cafe, many songwriters would meet. And the cafe was called the Gioconda. Italians. You know what I mean. Italians in London. in the music street. Anyway, there were 5 studios under the street. And they were publishing houses, you know, like Peer Music, Essex Music, EMI Music. But you didn't see them because they were under the street. And under the street were studios. One day, I with Gypsy Dave in Tin Pan Alley, and I go to the basement of Peer Music. I go down into the basement. It's a small room with a 4-track recording machine. When I look up, all the paper on the ceiling is hanging down, you know, like a third-class hotel. I mean, this is not like big fame or anything. But then Peer Music say, okay, sing your songs. So I started singing my songs.
What year was this one?
1964, November. And 300 yards to the left was Brian Jones with his band, the Rolling Stones, down under the street in the publishing house of Essex Music. So you can imagine, you know, I'm in one basement, Brian's in another, but there's 4 other basements. Who are in the other basements? One asks oneself.
Yes.
But anyway, I went down in my book, the full story, you know, but I went downstairs, I recorded 9 recordings, and somehow Brian Jones knew that I was in another studio. Maybe somebody said, there's a kid. His name's Donovan. He's making a record, and it looks like he means it. So Brian came down, and I couldn't believe it because it's Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones. And I'm playing my songs. Yellow is the color, then the chilly hours and minutes, like, gone on out of yellow, down, 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 down. And there's Brian Jones. And he says, you sound like Dylan. I said, yeah. And you sound like Muddy Waters. And we both understood that I'm making a record, he's making a record. But then I forgot about that. And Brian Jones said to a TV company, there's a kid who you should get on the TV show called Ready, Steady, Go. I didn't know this until recently. It was amazing because, you have just spoken to Linda. And Brian Jones, Donovan and Linda are a triangle. But you know that.
Yes, indeed. Who were in the other studios in that moment?
I don't know.
No, but probably someone as important as you and as the Rolling Stones.
Oh, you want to imagine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, it was not Cliff Richard because he was already a big star. We're only talking about artists who have no fame.
Mm-hmm. But became very famous. And how?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how is it that you made this connection with Brian Jones, being him, so sounding like Muddy Waters and being in so much with the blues and rhythm and blues, and you being more like in the Celtic? How did you connect, being so different? In the previous interview, you mentioned how Brian was connecting all these Celtic and Welsh musicians with the rhythm and blues. But then you too, you as a pair, as friends, you were that connection. So why didn't you get into slide guitar and rhythm and blues, or why?
Oh.
I believe probably your influence on Brian was stronger. Yes.
Well, it's obvious. We are both Celtic, and all that music, and he would go to Africa and America, and I would go deep into Celtic folk and jazz and Balkan music and Indian music, and so we would go different directions, but we're very much the same in being Celtic musicians who want to experiment.
Want to bring life into the world.
Yes, Linda's saying something back there.
Yeah, here she comes.
Donovan.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Linda.
Yes, you were saying, Linda, that they
I was
wanted
saying
what?
that the two of them, what I'm recognizing is that they're bringing light into the world and lifting our spirits, because there's so much darkness, and that's why timing is everything, and this is why Brian will be so much more important now than he ever has been.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.
And through Don and me and everything else that's going on the planet and the universe is all going to connect now, and the light is going to shine from all this music, and here's Don.
Hello again.
Okay. Hello again.
So,
yes.
Can I say one very interesting thing?
Sure.
Okay, this Celtic thing, we're talking about.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Roman Empire, the German Empire, the French Empire, the Italian Empire, all those empires were on the continent, on the continent of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And the islands of Scotland and Ireland and the west of Wales and Cornwall were very far away.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore the music and the philosophy and the beauty and the power and the energy would be preserved in the western part of Europe, in the north. And out of the western part of Europe in the north comes Lennon-McCartney, the Gallagher brothers and Oasis, the Ryder brothers and the Mondays. Presley is a Scottish name. And so what you actually get in this ancient, what do you call it, preservation of music is Brian Jones, a great Welsh Celtic poet and musician and master who creates the extraordinary Rolling Stones.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that his body is gone, because what he created was a stage for white European guitar players and blues singers to take African American power and energy and heal the white world from its angst.
You sound to me in this moment like Atlantis. It comes to my head. When you wrote Atlantis, you were saying exactly the same thing, more or less.
Yeah. When I was writing Atlantis, I wasn't writing Atlantis. I was reading a book, and the book was called View Over Atlantis, I think. Anyway, you know people who write books that channel?
Yes.
Do you know what a channel is?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So somebody actually takes up the pen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they start writing, and they say, what should I write? And then they write, and then a character appears, and a book appears. And if we are listening to other souls, Brian Jones is saying this year, he's saying it very clear.
Yes.
It doesn't matter about fame. It just matters
That it
that
comes out.
when I came and when I said this can happen, it happened. Therefore, when you see two young boys with long hair playing guitar and they're looking at each other and they're dancing on stage, Brian Jones invented it with Keith Richards.
Well,
Have you got it?
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
No two guitar players ever played that way before.
Yeah.
So with Brian, we have an enigma. We have an enigma. It's multi-level. You can't actually dissect it properly. And really, the sound of the Rolling Stones is an extraordinary thing. Don't you agree?
Oh, yes,
Yes, yes.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it just keeps going on and on. And by the way, the old music and the new music and the music that hasn't been played, we can't think about those things. We can only think about what the Rolling Stones recorded. And when you think of what Brian did for this band to actually define how popular music should absorb rhythm and blues, it's rather extraordinary.
Indeed. It was extraordinary.
And I would say one more definite thing. To any guitar player who wants to form a rock and roll band, they should listen to the first 4 singles of the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
Okay, definitely.
Anyway, I'm having some fun here. I hope you're having fun too.
Oh, yes,
this
we are.
is great. Are you
Definitely.
playing lots? What other songs are you
Absolutely.
playing of Brian?
Well,
Okay, we played Painted Black, then Gumper,
Ah, fantastic.
and Little Red Rooster.
of
Yeah,
course,
man.
with us,
Little
with us
Red
like
Rooster did it, man. That was what changed every guitar player's
Yes.
idea of maybe I should play electric guitar.
One time I heard that this is Brian Jones is the only ugly white folk who plays slide like a Negro.
Oh, yeah. Well, not only play like an African-American, as they say now, but actually turn it upside down and impress so deadly.
Yes, that was great.
Yes, indeed. Donovan, going back to Atlantis, do you think Atlantis, well, the book that you were reading was channeled, but Atlantis was channeled to you?
No. I just said the book I was reading was channeled. In ancient Ireland and Scotland, we believe in an island, a great magical island off the coast of Ireland, out in the Northern Sea. And this island actually is invisible. And the only way you can see it is if you want to go there. And so music and harmony and beautiful rock stars like Brian Jones are calling to the whole world to say there is a beautiful crystal island in the ancient Celtic Sea. But the only way you can get there is to recognize the sounds of music and the dance.
Wonderful. And what about your PAN project, what you're working on right now?
No, I'm off. You've got to say goodbye.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Linda.
Hi, yes. The sun's just gone down. It's the most beautiful evening, and yes, you will continue on now, yes?
Yes. Okay.
With
No,
the
we
music.
were talking about the PAN project that you were working on, and can you tell us more about it, please?
What project is that?
PAN, P-A-N. Yes.
PAN. Oh,
yes,
oh,
PAN.
yes. Well, I have to put you back to Don for that. PAN. You were talking about.
I'm sorry, Linda. You said I should stop talking.
Okay, no.
Hello again.
Hi, Don. How you doing? Hey, Don.
Who's this?
Gerardo. It's me, Gerardo.
Gerardo.
Okay.
Did you know my brother's name was Gerald?
Yeah, like Gerald, but it's Gerardo.
Yeah. I hope you're not in a hurry, because
No, I'm not.
a great sunset is falling over the island of Mallorca.
Oh my God, I gotta be there. Here we.
It's so incredible. I just had to tell you. But if you want to ask another question, please do.
Okay. Did you ever play or record with Brian?
No, I never made a recording with Brian, but I was in his house, or I guess you could call it a muse, maybe for about half an hour, one night in the late 60s. And I was aware that Robert Fraser, the gallery owner in London, was there. I remembered that. God knows where we came from or where I was headed, but when I entered that little muse, or whatever it was, of Brian Jones, I was very interested.
Then he told Reddy to go about it.
And then I looked up on the wall, and there were so many unusual instruments and pianos and things around the room. I said, this guy plays lute, flute,
Yes.
sax, keyboards. Is that over there maybe a harmonica and a harmonium? My God. It was very impressive.
Yes.
But hold on, Ado. Then what? But I have to tell you, before I went to Brian's pad, I must take you back. And this should be the first question, Gerardo. When did you meet Brian Jones? Brian came in to the basement studio of PM Music because he knew I'd just arrived on the scene. I hadn't met Linda. And Brian said to my publisher, this guy's moving. And so Brian Jones actually lifted me up into my first TV show. But that was before I met Linda. The TV show was called Ready, Steady, Go.
Yeah.
Donovan,
That was a great experience.
one more question. What is music to you? What music means to you?
Music, to me? Okay. Okay, there's three answers. I'll give you the first answer, okay? This is the power answer, why music is so powerful in our lives. Music is the invisible sound that releases the obscure emotion of the heart. This is the romantic answer, okay? Because when you actually ask a question of your life or your lover or your friend, only you know the answer. And when you hear music, it seems to be easier to make that answer to yourself.
Oh, I have a question, Donovan. What kind of music do you listen nowadays?
Well, what kind of music do I listen to nowadays? Bob Marley. And, you know, if you buy the new Bob Marley, it's remix of Bob Marley. But it's so beautiful and so powerful, okay? My daughter, Estrella Celeste. Of course I listen to my daughter, Estrella Celeste.
What kind of music?
Other music I listen to, okay. Donovan, not new Donovan, and not old Donovan, but archive Donovan. I've been listening to 400 recordings from my history, but I don't remember the songs. And so I've been listening to an archive. And I also have been listening to my grandson, Brian Jones' grandson,
Jules.
as well, it seems. Oh, anyway, Brian's grandson is called Jules. He's 12 years old. And he picks up the guitar and he says, how do I do this? And I show him how to do the riff from Slipknot.
That's wonderful.
And then I realized that this boy is the heir, the grandson of Brian Jones this day, July 3rd, the 40th anniversary of Brian dropping the body. Celebration all over the world because the great Rolling Stones was born.
Yes. Donovan, there's much said about that famous trip of the Beatles and another of you, many artists, to India with the Maharishi. Have you been back to India?
No, not recently. But Paul McCartney and Ringo and Donovan and David Lynch and Mike Glover of the Beach Boys and Paul Horn, the jazz player, we were on stage together celebrating that great journey in 1968 to find the answer to the world's suffering. And could it be meditation and the journey within?
You still meditate?
Well, of course. Millions of humans do meditate. But what we are experiencing now is the world needs to look within. And Brian Jones, when he arrived, he reintroduced to the white world the African-American soul.
That's very important. And what do you think Donovan introduced to the world?
Oh, I'm a Celtic poet. And Brian is the Welsh Pan. And I continue on a website called Donovan.ie.
Okay. Yes, we will be checking it out. And well,
Yeah.
we're going to say goodbye, Donovan and Linda.
Oh, no, we're so, this is so good to be speaking to you. You know, this is the day of the 40th when Brian said goodbye.
Yes.
Let us meet in February of 2010 and the anniversary of his birth.
Okay. Yes. How old will you be?
It's 1942.
You won't be more than a year older, darling, so don't worry.
68.
But
yes.
listen, it's been great. Gerardo and yourself, darling, what was your name?
Julia and
Julia.
Yes.
Did
Julia,
you know?
Julia,
Did you know Brian Jones named two of his sons Julian?
Yes. And
Yeah.
and well, that was a very popular name, I bet, because John Lennon did too.
Also,
Well, I don't know. Brian said it was because he loved the jazz saxophone player Julian Cannonball Adderley.
Yes.
Excellent.
Here comes Linda for a sweet good night.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Linda. How you doing? Linda.
This just feels so good. I don't know what's happening, but something wonderful's happening.
Something wonderful is happening. The presence of Brian and the presence of you and Donovan here is very special. And
for us too.
this was. I just one question. It came to me right now. I have to ask you, when you learned about Brian's leaving his body, what you were doing, what was happening, what happened to you?
When he died, the year he died.
Yes, but you personally, when you learned about his passing.
Oh, I was God. I was in America. My friend called Michael Aldred, who was from Ready Steady Go presenter. He said he called me and told me, and of course I was very emotional, and then I just got on the plane and came back with Julian and went to the funeral. It was very, very emotional. I didn't know what to think. I couldn't believe it.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was powerful. I remember very well myself when I got in front of the mirror and started crying and said Brian Jones is dead, and then all of a sudden I felt that probably he was alive and I was the one that was dead. So it was very powerful for me.
That's wonderful. So, yes.
We were all connected, and we are still connected.
Yes, and since we've been meditating and learning and traveling with His Holiness and the Dalai Lama, not the Drukpa into Tibet, and we've learned this is very true. This is, we got so close with him, and seeing the temples from his past lives, how natural it was, he's back again this life, and, it became much easier for me to deal with over the years, and the understanding is that we're all still here, and we'll always be here, just the body goes,
Exactly.
And then, and then when they leave this music, that's even more amazing.
Exactly.
And Don just playing you out. Okay? Lots of love, and we will speak to you when we're going to do our thing in February.
Sure, we will be in touch.
But listen, Gerardo, and you, I hope to speak to you before that, though, many times, and come to visit, yeah?
Okay, and I hope you come here to Mexico. If not, I'm going to go to Cork, to Ireland.
Okay, here's Don. Bye.
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 Okay, bye, everyone.
That sounds great.
Hello, anyone there?
Yes,
goodbye.
Listening to the music.
Okay, good night.
Bye.
Still there. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
My brothers.
Ya cuelga.
Have you gone?
No.
Yes, we're gone now. Bye bye. Ya, no, es que estabas hablando encima de la música y la estábamos grabando para el programa.
Oye,
Pero le habíamos dicho que tocara.